Hello, everyone. How are you all doing out there? It's William here at Allegory Gallery, and I'm actually at Allegory Gallery again today. Look at me in the mirror back there. Um, so we have more vintage plastic to show you today. We went through about 40 lots yesterday, and I have another 40 some today. Some of these are in the online store, and you can purchase them right there if you'd prefer to. But some of them are not in the online store. Either we sold out there or they never got there. So if you like what you see, you can always purchase from this video, at least, you know, for a few days after the video. After that, they'll be going back onto the floor, and it'll be a little bit harder to get them. But if you're watching this video like weeks from when it aired, you can still send us a message and we'll see what we can do for you. But generally, the time period on these videos is a few days, and then it makes it a little bit more difficult to get the items for you, especially if they sell out, because we can't get any more of these. These are vintage, and we will not see any more of these after they're gone. That's it. What we have is what we have. A bunch of you claimed from yesterday, so thank you so much. A lot of the ones that were claimed yesterday were some of the ones we only had one or two of. So some of you did not, unfortunately, get the ones you wanted, but I did try my best. I emptied the basket. I looked through each one individually to make sure we didn't have any more. But I did send out invoices for those today. I wanted to try and get those out before we started this one today, so you'd all know what you got. Sometimes I can do that, sometimes I can't, but today I was able to get through them. So it's been a day, y'all. It's been a day. It's been a week. This whole week, I don't know what's going on, or if there's something in the air, or I have been like that. And there have just been things that are like, just like needling me. Do you have those days when you feel like everything, like, you know that the people who are saying things or calling or writing, they're not meaning to do it. They're not in any mood, but you feel like they're just like, you know, picking, or needling you, or you're just reading into things way too much. That's me this week. So I'm trying to remind myself to take a breath, let out the bad energy, and just kind of go with the flow a little bit. I am a Pisces. I am supposed to go with the flow. I have to remind myself of that quite often. But it's been a week. I don't know. I'm ready. You know, I don't usually try to wish time by, but I'm ready to go home today and just relax a little bit. But I have the video to edit for Saturday morning, so that's going to be my relaxation. I'm going to turn off all communications. I'm going to put on Do Not Disturb. I'm going to put on my headphones, and I'm just going to immerse myself in watching and editing the video for Saturday morning for the tutorial. So that's going to be my evening, I think. Hello, Marianne. Thanks for joining us. Hello, Michelle. Thank you for joining in with us today. Let's see here. Who else is with us? Bonnie is with us. Let's see here. Marianne says 1 out of 2 was okay since I got the one I wanted. That's good. Susan says full moon this week. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I have no idea. Karen says, hi, William. I get it. I'm sorry you get it, but I'm glad I'm not the only one. Suzanne says, hello. Hello, AG Bead fam out there. Let's see. Michelle says, my money right now is going to the New Order of Delicas. I did look everything up for you. One supplier was missing about 6 to 8 of them. Another supplier could come in and get like 4 of those, and another supplier could get the rest. So I think I can get them all for you, but I have to see what our minimums are and see if I have to place minimum orders with a lot of these people to get your few little tubes of Delicas in. But I think I found them, at least from everybody, and I have to see if I have to move around and see if some of the other suppliers have some of the ones I found some other places. It's not easy. For some reason, there seems to be quite a shortage of all the ones you want. I don't know why. Bonnie says that happens sometime, right? Bonnie says, I wrecked my nails making a bead soup bracelet. Yes, today. That happens. I had to cut all my nails. They were starting, my nails in the winter get very brittle, I think from being dried out. And so they were chipping and cracking, and I had to cut my nails quite short to get them restarted again. And I've been trying to drink a lot more water. I don't know, lately. Suzanne says full moon tonight. Marianne says yesterday was the full. So when's the full moon, y'all? Tonight, yesterday? When is it? What's going on? Vivian's joining on a work break. Thanks for joining in a little bit with us. Susan is with us. Thank you for joining. Suzanne says, finally a piece came together. That's good. That's good. I saw a piece you posted I think in Abby's group. That looked really good. Yeah, I don't know. Full moon sometime, yesterday, today, I don't know when, but it makes sense. Sometimes full moons do. I tend to realize that I'm very on edge. And a lot of times people then tell me, well, full moon is here or is very close. So that makes sense. That makes sense why I'm feeling a little bit grouchy and grr. Actual time of the full moon was 6:08 a.m. Eastern time. There you go. The last few days makes sense now. I don't know what's happening. What is going on? Andrew is again at his class at the Center for Metal Arts in Johnstown. So he probably will not join us. He may join us in the comments toward the end of the video, maybe. But he's probably leaving now, I'm guessing, or sometime around close to now, and heading home. Susan says, not a great day here. My father-in-law was rushed to the hospital earlier today. I'm sorry. That's awful. He was experiencing a severe headache and was disoriented. Please say a healing prayer from him. Yes, we send good vibes out into the world for him. Sorry that he's going through that. It's scary. It's scary when brain things happen. It's scary when anytime you have to go to the hospital, but brain things are hard because sometimes they're hard to figure out. So what else are we doing today? Anybody else having a good day out there or an okay day? We had a bad review, which I saw yesterday, which didn't help my mood. We got a bad review, which I don't even know if it was necessarily about us. I think the person reviewing us confused us with Green Girl Studios because they were talking about they were talking about Azalea answering messages, but they put the review under our name and said, go into the store, but don't buy online. So I had to write that. And then then we got an upset email. Somebody couldn't figure out how to use the discount code we sent, and they thought that it was bad business to send out codes that were hard to use. And that was all yesterday. So that was kind of been in my brain. And then today has just been, it's kind of carried over a little bit, even though I kind of finished that, you know. But when you write a reply to somebody, I'm always on edge. Always on edge until like I hear back from them or enough time has passed that I'm probably not hearing back from them. So all day today, I'm like checking my email, checking the review to see if they're writing back, if I have to write back to them. But, you know, we care so much about people being happy and people, you know, giving people good service and creating this beautiful community we have and keeping it intact. And when you get things like that, it's hard. It's so hard. It's mentally draining for me. Some people can just be like, oh, it's business, it's fine. It's hard for me. It's hard for me. Let's see here. What's everyone else saying? Susan says, for our own mental health, everyone needs to remember to breathe and take care of yourself. It's true. You do have to remember. You have to remind yourself sometimes, because sometimes no one else is going to remind you. So I'm going to remind all of you out there right now, take time for yourself, take care of yourself, and breathe, right? Breathe. Um, Susan says there's no evidence of what the issue is. A CAT scan revealed no brain bleed, so he has to have some tests, including an MRI. That's hard. My grandfather had a stroke, and they could not figure out why. There was no reason that they could figure out what happened. So it's hard when that happens, because you're just test after test after test. Suzanne had a doctor visit and blood work was great. No new meds. That's always a plus, right? As we get a little bit older, sometimes it starts early for people, but doctor's visits kind of turn into pharmacy visits, sometimes more often than not. So coming out with good blood work, that's awesome. And no new meds is definitely a good thing. Bonnie had an okay day, said sorry for your review. You guys are great. Thank you. We appreciate it. We know y'all love us. It's often new people, very new. They have no idea. They just found us online somewhere, weren't recommended by someone else, and don't really know us. And sometimes we mess up, and sometimes our shipping takes a while. The review was because an order was taking a while, but it was a pre-order. And so I don't know. I don't know if they were actually talking about us or not. So it's a little bit hard. I tried to look through my notes and my emails to see if it was somebody that I remember communicating with, but I don't remember the situation. And they said that they were talking to Azalea. So if they know for sure, unless they assumed they were talking to her, but if they know for sure, then it wasn't about us. So, that's a hard thing. But at least you want to put up your response as a business to so that people reading that review can also read your response and understand that maybe it wasn't about you. Michelle's having your friends wake and get together on the 22nd. That's rough. That's really rough. Let's see here. Marianne says, thank you for some good news, Suzanne, right? Good news, good news. Marion says, just allergies for me, just annoying. Yeah, I think I forgot to take my allergy pill today. I take 2 different allergy pills. Generally, it's Allegra and Claritin. Claritin in the morning, Allegra in the evening. Allegra helps keep my hives down from my thyroid, and Claritin helps it's the only thing that usually helps for my actual seasonal allergies. And they're both 24-hour pills, so you're not supposed to take more than one. And I took my pills and my medications this morning, and I couldn't remember if I took my allergy pill or not. And you can't just pop another one just in case you forgot. You don't really want to do that. It probably wouldn't hurt too much, but I'm not going to risk that. So I went without it. Worst case scenario, I'm sneezing all day. But I have been, you can probably tell I'm a little more congested. I feel nasally a little bit today. So I get it. I get it. Susan says, so sorry to learn about the bad review. It's okay. It comes with the territory. I used to get really bent out of shape on bad reviews. And it has nothing to do with necessarily what it makes us look like. Like, if people legitimately had a bad experience, I would rather know about it. I'd rather they email us, this person thought they did. So I get it. I get the review. But it's really hard for me to feel like we let anyone down. And I know in business, and in as much as we do, it's going to happen. At some point, most likely, odds are, statistically, it's going to happen that we're going to, mess something up, and that happens. And it affects me a lot to know that we couldn't fix it or didn't fix it right if it was us. So that's a hard thing. Michelle says, I am doing better. Grieving too long was getting me ill because my body was under stress. My family pulled me out of it. That's good. Yeah, grief is a hard thing, right? There are times in my life that I've had a lot of grief and I didn't even realize it. Like, I was in I was in some pretty bad depressions, I think, sometimes. And if you don't have somebody that recognizes that and helps you come out of it, it can be hard to even realize you're depressed after a certain amount of time, or that you're still grieving after a certain amount of time, because you just get into this mindset of being this, right? And it can be difficult. So I'm glad you have people with you, Michelle, that help pull you out of that recognize that you're hurting and help you to not have to stay in that place. And sometimes I think we feel guilty not grieving. I'm one of those people. If I feel like I'm coming out of it, and I sometimes feel guilty that I'm not still sad, but you have to let the process be the process sometimes, right? And if you're feeling better, you have to allow yourself to feel better. So I'm glad you have family around, and I'm glad that there are people around who are watching you, because it's a hard thing. It's a hard thing. Let's see here. Bonnie says, my husband, who had a mild stroke, went through all that, and they found that he had a hole in his heart. He's doing great now. That's good. That's good that they found it. Michelle says, yes, I do have a great support team. That's good. Marion says, Green Girl had a problem with one of my orders. Azalea did a great job fixing it. Yeah, like the gist of the review, anybody can read this review, so it's not like me talking out of sorts. The review is still up. But the gist of this review is this person was on a time crunch. They were apparently trying to do some kind of jewelry with a time capsule that they were doing. And they wanted a Green Girl piece that they either bought from us or from Green Girl, I'm not sure. But they did this in February. At least that's when they left the review. And if it was one of the new pieces, we tried very hard to make sure that it said that these were a pre-order. The people were not getting these until we got back from Tucson. And I know even when we got back, we had some shortages because we couldn't get everything. So I can't imagine that they ultimately got their pieces. It wasn't that they didn't get it or that it wasn't resolved. It was just that it wasn't resolved in the time that they thought it should be, I think, or that they needed it to be. And so it was one of those kind of things. And so I don't know who it was, but I know generally we all, no matter who it is, work very hard to, make people happy. That's, we're not in business to annoy people. That's what it comes down to, I think, is that the last thing we want is to annoy people, and we work hard to try to make sure that everything's going right. Let's see. Teresa says, my malfunction code on my Jeep was explained to be rust on the outer edge of the fuel intake hose, which I removed with a $1 worth of Brillo, hoping. Good. That's good. It's good when things can be solved easily, right? Suzanne says, some people are too quick to leave a bad review. Let the shop try to handle things. Mistakes happen. Yeah, and I think this person felt like they communicated with us as much as they could. But they also mentioned another thing about not having automated replies or something, and we do everywhere. So that's what makes me think it may not have been us. Some people, because we're so closely tied, it is family, think we're the same thing, or think that, that Green Girl has a storefront called Allegory Gallery, but that's not the case. So that's one of those things that it could be. And this person, they legitimately, from their review, look like they tried to write and tried to get in touch. And but I don't know their name. They didn't leave their name in the review, so I can't look up their information to find out if it's somebody that was us. But some people are very quick to leave a review, and ultimately, it sounds like this person got what they wanted. They just got it later than they thought they were going to get it, which if it was the new items and it's a pre-order, that's not necessarily, I think, on either of the companies, because we listed them as pre-orders. But anyway, going to try not to let it go, right? Let it go. Marianne says, one pharmacist told me to take 2 on a really bad day. Oh, wow. That's interesting, because the box is like, don't take more than 1. So I've always tried not to. But that's good to know, at least, that it's not going to do too much damage. Vivian says, great point about the depression mindset, William. Thank you. Yeah. I've just been going through that myself. Like, I think I've been depressed about, like, not currently necessarily. And y'all have, you know, I think when my grandparents passed, I didn't, you know, in my family, we don't really have wakes or even funerals necessarily. My grandparents insisted that there was no funeral for them. They did not want family coming to see a body. They did not want all of that. They did not want a burial. That they were cremated. That's what they wanted. And so it was it was one of those things, like, they were here and then they were gone, and we were doing what they wanted. And that's what my whole family is. On that side of my family, we're all kind of like that. Like, we don't want people seeing us in a casket. We don't want people coming and you know, having the family have to stand there and go through the process of showing face when everyone's coming. And you know, and that's just our way of doing things. But I think because of that, you know, I didn't allow myself to grieve as much. And so and I was very close with them. And so it made it hard for me to realize that I didn't grieve, and that maybe I was still a little bit hung up on this or depressed about them passing. And I think when you go to a funeral, there are some things that are good, that you go and you cry, or you cry with the family, or you express your, you know, your feelings. But for us, it was a different experience. And so I think that for me, I kind of, as the years are passing, I'm starting to realize that I was in a pretty funk in a lot of ways. And I've been trying to analyze that myself and work through that a little bit. Suzanne says, Cinnamon is here pawing at the computer screen. She sends Barnaby her cat love. Barnaby is so mad that he is not on camera lately. He's been very riled up lately. I think the full moon has him going. Barnaby has been a little firecracker lately. He's been talking a lot. He's been running around. He's been chasing his brother around. So I think the full moon's affecting him, but he's not getting to see anybody on camera. So maybe we'll have to get back to the house once in a while. Oh, let's see here. Cindy said shared and liked. Oops, sorry, it just skipped on me. Marion says long distance relationships are hard, right? They are sometimes, right? Cindy shared and liked in both places. Thank you, Cindy. Yes, please share this video. Please hit the thumbs up. We have 1,299 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you all so much out there who are watching on YouTube and who subscribe to us there. We're almost going to break that 1,300 point. I don't know if we have yet or not. As of the beginning of this video, we had not. But I shared a screenshot of that number, and not this time to say let's hit 1,300 necessarily, but to let you all know, we were fighting so hard. I think it was just last year, the end of last year, to get up to 1,000 subscribers. And we added like 66 in the last 28 days. I think they do 28-day cycles. And we've been around there. We've been hovering around that 50 to 60 additional new people every 28 days or so. And to me, that's amazing. Like, you know, like, probably the people who follow us on Facebook, y'all have moved over. Most people have moved over who want to over to YouTube and subscribe to us there. So these are probably new people. Like, these are people who don't know us, or people who are finding us through links that you're sharing out there. You know, and that's incredible to me, that almost 2 people a day, almost 3 people a day, right? Am I right? 2 people a day, somewhere in there, are finding us and deciding to subscribe to us, not just watching our videos, because we get more views from people who aren't subscribers. But our subscriber views are pretty high compared to unsubscribed views. So people who are finding us seem to be subscribing to us. And these should be probably, most of these are new people. And so that's incredible to me that we don't pay ads to push people over to YouTube. We've never put an ad out, I don't think. And we do ads rarely, but we've never put an ad out to say, hey, go find us on YouTube. So for 2 people a day, which, you know, for us, for a small business, that's a lot of new people. I'd like that trend to keep going. I'd love 10 people a day to be finding us, but we'll get there. But that's, you know, we're posting more regularly there with the Saturday morning videos, Saturday morning tutorials, and these lives. But also it's you all sharing and you all letting people know that we exist out in the world. And when you share that YouTube link, people are finding it. So thank you. Thank you so much out there. Michelle says, my husband and I think AG is the best. Thank you. We appreciate that. And, you know, I don't say that lightly. We really do appreciate all of your support and thank you for, you know, hanging out with us. You're hanging out with me. Who does that? Who just hangs out with people every day? Y'all are here every day, and we really appreciate that. Suzanne says, I have only stopped dealing with one jewelry person. This person took over 3 months to send things in stock. Emails were not returned. I just stopped buying and left no bad review. Yeah, you know, I rarely leave a bad review. I can't remember the last time I actually left a bad review. The only time I'd probably resort to that is if I couldn't get my money back, or my credit card company couldn't get the money back for some reason or something like that. Or if it was a really damaging, you know, runaround kind of thing. But I can't remember the last time I just stopped buying from people, right? I don't, and I usually, if it's somebody I've worked with a long time, I'll usually try, you know, to get over it. But if it's a new person and it doesn't work out, like I tried to buy, they had these fancy, not fancy, they had these like microfiber, almost like toothbrushes that I was going to try one because they're like, oh, it cleans your teeth so good. So I bought one, never showed up. Months went by, never showed up. And every time I wrote to the company, all they wrote was, oh, it's going to come in the next shipment. Oh, the next time we ship. Oh, they never shipped. And it was kind of that thing when I asked for my money back, they were like, oh, it's going to be coming soon. Don't worry. Well, at that point I was worried. So I had to go to my credit card for that. And that's, I mean, really, that's one of the last times I've really had bad customer service. They did reply, but their reply was the same thing all the time. Just wait longer, pretty much. Bonnie says, it's too bad they didn't leave their name. Green Girl sells so many other entities, so it could have been a completely different shop. Hope you can let that one roll off. Yeah. You know, I wrote to explain that it could have been someone else that they're writing about. I wrote to say that we'd like to work it out with you if there's something we can do. And so my reply is out there for the world to see. And that, at least, you know, I hate to leave a bad review out there. I usually try to thank everybody for their good reviews too. But I also like to kind of give our position on bad reviews so that people can have both sides of the story. And, you know, there's always at least 2 sides for every story, right? Let's see here. Marion says Green Girls automated replies as well. I thought they did, yeah. So I don't know I don't know, you know. Bonnie says animals help so much when it comes to mental and other health issues. Yes, they do. And I think that was another thing when Paolo and Babette passed. I grieved a lot, but when Paolo passed, I think I had not realized how deeply I kind of went into, I don't know if I'll call it a depression, because, you know, I wasn't completely depressed, and I guess you don't have to be completely depressed to be in depression, but, you know, I let a lot of stuff go that I should have done or should have kept up with. And at the time, it was just like, it was me not being able to deal with it. But looking back on it, I think it was because I was still depressed and I didn't have joy for that stuff anymore. And so, I think, and I've realized a lot in my life that, like for example, when I got vitiligo, when I first got vitiligo, I was very splotchy, and I've talked about this a little bit. I was very splotchy. I had dark spots from still having pigment around my mouth and different parts of my face, as most people with vitiligo that you see do. They're splotchy, and that's what I was like. And that was when I was, 13, 14, going through puberty. All the changes were happening. And that was just another thing to add to my plate for an already awkward kid who was a nerd and skinny, um, and tall and gangly. And I think that compounded with my dad's alcoholism and drug addiction and things that would happen. Um, I think I was in a depression for that longer than I even realized. Um, and you don't know this until you can look back on things sometimes, but um, I would even say into my 20s, mid 20s, I was probably still suffering from a lot of that. Um, and so, sometimes there's low grade stuff that happens, and it kind of goes, unnoticed for a while. Um, I'm just starting to realize now that, like, during that time period, that long time period, really, um, at least 10 to 15 years, I really made very little in the way of dreams for myself. Like, I didn't, I didn't try for anything necessarily. Like, I had jobs and I did the best job I could, and I always put my effort in and all that. I never stopped doing that, even through college. I did really well in college, but I stopped dreaming of what the future could be like a little bit. And I didn't even realize I did that until recently, actually. I didn't realize that I stopped creating these goals and dreams for myself. Um, and I say, like, I've talked about this before a little bit too, that, like, I say that I wanted my own business when I was a kid, and here I have it. And I wanted to study languages in school, and I got a chance to do that. And I'm very lucky, and I feel very lucky. But at the same point, for a long time, recognizing and building that dream and succeeding in that, I didn't have anything else to throw myself into. I didn't have anything else that I was dreaming toward, I guess. And so, I think some of that is still left over, and some of that I'm still working through, but it's a process, right? And grief is a process, whether it's because of something that happens to you or something that happens to someone you love. Grief is a process. And I think you have to try your best to stay aware, or, as I said before, have people around you who care, who can help make you aware sometimes. Let's see here. Marion says the grief process is different for everyone. Sometimes it takes a long time to fully experience the whole process. Yep. Yep. Decades, apparently. Bonnie says, I'm sorry, but I don't subscribe to anything on YouTube. I just don't want to add to my media. It's okay. It's no problem. You're on Facebook. We got you. I just like YouTube because it's better quality. And there's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff out there. Hello, Diane says, you're on my TV. Nice. I like to be on TV. How about that? That's interesting, right? Yes, Easter is coming up this weekend. Happy Easter for all of you who celebrate. I don't necessarily celebrate Easter, but I love Easter. Like, as a religious holiday, I'm not that religious at all. So for me, it's not about that. But I love, it's. I think I talked about this a little bit. I used to dye eggs growing up when we had Easter. My grandmother would always have the little pack of egg dyeing stuff, and we'd dye eggs and have egg hunts at my other grandparents' house. And we always had little baskets with the the little, probably very bad for the environment, grass in them. But yeah, I love pastels. I love the Easter Bunny. I love that whole thing. I just don't get into the religious aspect of it, but happy Easter if you celebrate and however you celebrate. Marianne doesn't celebrate Easter either, right? Marianne doesn't celebrate Easter either, she says. But happy Easter if you do. Exactly. Exactly. Susan says, grief can manifest in many different ways. Yep. Yep, it can. It certainly can. Bonnie says, that's a lot at that age for sure. You have done well to run a successful business. We try. I'm very lucky to have Andrew. He is a very good, when I'm holding back, he's willing to push ahead. And so we balance each other out very well. And I'm lucky to have someone I love by my side, because that's not easy in this world all the time. And my family is a very good family. I have a very good family. You know, every family has some issues here and there, and we certainly have had them, but I have a very supportive family, and I'm very thankful for that on both sides, really. I'm blessed in a lot of ways. Marianne says, I still have my dog's collar and leash. He died many years ago. Yeah, it's hard, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong, not one bit, with keeping that kind of stuff. You know, sometimes I'll catch myself, even pets that I've had in the past, forgetting something, and you feel bad about forgetting. And those things help you to remember, right? They help you to stay in touch. And, you know, you're going to forget something at some point. But I have tried to frame it that I know I'm going to forget things. I know I'm going to forget daily things that we did together with my pets and whatnot, even people. But that only, you know, I'm trying to reframe it as that only allows you to feel joy when those memories pop up out of nowhere, right? A little bit of hurt maybe, but mostly joy, because after you've forgotten things, I think that they can translate or transition into bringing you joy instead of grief. So that's kind of what I've tried to forgive myself a little bit in forgetting things, because I'm a forgetful person in a lot of ways. So I know I'm going to forget, you know, certain things, but I know they'll also pop up in my memory at some point out of nowhere, usually. And it allows you to, you know, reflect and renew that joy that you had when you had them. Susan says, I have some mementos from several furry family that have passed as well. Yeah, we always keep too. Oops. Michelle says, one of my problems is I can't eat when I'm upset. So after many days and being diabetic, yeah, I was getting sick from it all. Yes, you have to take care of yourself nutritionally. That's one of the most important things. And I get it too, because when I am anxious or I'm having an anxiety attack, or I'm super sad, it is hard for me to eat too. So I feel you. There have been times I have forced myself just to eat because I knew I had to. So I'm glad you have people who are watching. I'm not diabetic, but I know how we have customers and friends who are here who I've gotten to know very well, and I know how easily that can fluctuate if you're not taking care of it. Susan says, I like chocolate and plush bunnies, right? I even like Peeps, y'all, but just the plain Peeps. I haven't tried all the crazy flavored Peeps. I did see the one, somebody mentioned the, what were the Peeps somebody mentioned in our video the other day? There was some kind of hot or spicy or something, I forget, but I did see them in the store, and I was this close to trying them, and I was like, I don't think I should do this. I don't think I'm in that mood for that. Let's see here. Marion says, I always have to have one Cadbury's cream egg. Those are good. those are good. And they might even be better up there in Canada. I don't know. Because I know sometimes the chocolates are different from country to country. But I do like a Cadbury's cream egg. Susan says, I have a collection of plush bunnies that I display at this time of year. That's cute. I like that. Hello, Nancy. Late joining. Thanks for being here. We didn't get to the show yet. We're just chatting, mostly about depression, which is not the greatest topic, but, hopefully it helps. Linda says, I lost my little girl Cindy 8 years ago, and I'm still not over it. I still have her collar, lead, and ashes, and I'll never have another pet. I've had the issue with, we had Barnaby and Gilbert during the time that we had Paolo and Babette, so it was natural to have them, and everybody was together for a while. And now we're thinking of getting more kittens. One of our friends and our helper V, who used to be with us, has some kittens on their porch, and we're thinking about adopting them. And it has been, I know Andrew really wants it, and it would be, I think, a good thing. But for me, I'm having a little bit of guilt that we're bringing in new family members, and Paolo and Babette aren't around to be in that family. It's like creating almost like a new family unit. And so it's been a little bit on my mind. So I get not being able to have another, but I also know that, my family is big on having animals, and through my mom, especially my mom and my aunt, my mom often gets older animals and just gives them a good life for as long as she can. And because they don't get adopted very often, right? Older animals generally always don't get adopted. So she'll go in and adopt sometimes the oldest one there, just to give it the best life she can until its life is over. And so we're very big on, I know we could give these cats a very nice life. They're going to eat well. They're going to, play. They're going to have family. So it's hard. It's hard. As I'm fighting back tears thinking about it. But I think it would be good. I think it would be good for us. And I think it would be good for Barnaby and Gilbert to have some little ones to play with too. Marion says, bunnies and spring do go together. They do, right? Marion says, I have to have animals of some kind. Yeah, we're kind of like that too. Suzanne says, no hot tamale peeps. That's what they were, the hot tamale peeps. I saw them in the store, and I was like, but I don't know. I don't know about that. Bonnie says, jelly beans, yes, are my jam. I love the jelly beans. Oh, and my favorite are the licorice jelly beans, which some of you are probably like, ugh. Andrew's like, ugh, but I love the black licorice jelly beans. I used to eat them and my teeth get all black. Nancy says, peeps need to be traditional flavor. I'm all for them trying, but I'm probably only going to eat the traditional ones. Hello, Amanda. Thanks for joining in. Bonnie says, I have an open box of Trader Joe's gourmet jelly beans right now. Eating has never been a problem for me. It's a sweet tooth that gets me in trouble. I get it. I don't have much. I never used to have much of a sweet tooth. As I'm getting older, I feel like I am indulging in sweets more than I used to. But I still don't have much of a sweet tooth. Every once in a while, I'll crave something sweet. But I'm more of a salt and sour kind of person, even bitter to a degree. So I get it. Every once in a while, I understand that. Marianne says, can I get someone to adopt me when I am truly old? I know, right? That's what Andrew and I keep thinking about, because we're like, we don't have kids. And, what are we going to do as we get older? My family, my immediate family, we have never put any of our relatives in any type of home or like care home. My family in some ways has been lucky in that generally, like my dad stayed with my grandmother for a while toward the end, just to make sure she was okay, so she wouldn't be alone. But we've been very lucky that like my grandparents were all generally either something happened and they passed quickly, or they were strong pretty much until the end. So I look at that and I'm like, what if we're not? Like, what do you do? Um, but that's a hard thing. Um, so we just have to try to build this dream here that we're building and have enough that if we need to put ourselves in a home, we can do that, sell it off and do that at some point, I guess. I don't know. Or hire people to run it while we're in the home. I don't know. Hello, Harry. Thanks for joining in. Good to see you here. Let's see here. Susan says, I had Smokey when our first cat, Mr. Boots, passed. There were so many similarities between Philip and Boots that we think Phil is Boots returning to us. Yeah, and that's what I wrestle with that too a little bit. Like, I think it's great that you hope they can return to you. And then I'm like, but am I putting that on? I don't know. I don't know. Like, could I handle? Oh, it would be so hard. Like Paolo used to literally sleep on the pillow with me. He would come up and lay his head on the pillow right beside mine. And if I ever had a cat that did that again, it would be such a sweet thing, but it would be so hard. It would be so hard. I don't know. And I tell Barnaby when he lays down, I'm like, you can come up on the pillow. But they knew each other. Like, to me, that's a little different. I don't know. I don't know how I would react, but I think I do, you do hope that they can come back and there's some kind of, come again. But I also, in a lot of ways, I hope that, Paolo and Babette can send somebody to us. That's fine. But I hope that Paolo and Babette I believe that part of my belief is that you do try to keep coming back until you get to whatever you're supposed to get to. And they were so good that I hope they got to where they're supposed to be and they don't have to come back anymore. So I'm going to start bawling. I'm going to keep moving. Marianne says the black jelly beans are the best. They are. They really are. Suzanne says licorice jelly beans rule. Good. I'm glad you like them because some people really do not, and I do. But I got that love of licorice from my grandmother. She always had the licorice. I don't know if they still make them. The anise bears. They're little bear-shaped candies with sugar coated on them, and I used to eat those like crazy. Amanda says, I'm Mark. Safe from the wild wind out there today. The wind almost blew my earrings off. Oh my goodness. I need to get some lever backs. Better do that. Better do that. Barbara's with us. Who said black jelly beans? Yum, right? I love them. I'm glad that so many of you like them because normally when I talk about licorice stuff, people are like, Bonnie says, I would totally tap that hot tamale peep. Nice. Nice. Susan says, my dad was in assisted living for the 6 months before he passed. He didn't want me to quit my job to take care of him, and he needed more care than I could give him. Yeah, that's a hard thing, right? I've had a lot of friends who've had that. Like I said, we've just been lucky that we've been able to manage the way we have. Because my family does not have a lot of money through it. Like there's not, in that assisted living, I know Medicaid and that can help in some ways, but, and I feel for people because there are, whether it's like your family telling you not to do this or you're not able to do it. And that's what Andrew and I we think about that sometimes, like, what are we going to be able to do when we get to that point? Because we reinvest so much into this business. We don't have a lot of retirement or anything like that. This business is going to be the retirement, whether it continues on and somebody just works for us until we can't, or we sell it off at some point, or someone inherits it and keeps it going and helps us out. So it's tough sometimes. Marian says, if people can come back, then certainly animals can too. I believe that too. I do. There's something that holds us all together, and I don't know what that is or why that is. When you think about what your body does without you knowing that it's doing it, what's creating that? What's making that all happen? I believe there's a reason for all that, and I think we come back as many times as we need to learn whatever we want to learn, or play however we want to play, or experience what we want to experience. But I do believe also that possibly there's a higher evolution of some sort, and that it's once you learn what you need to learn or do what you want to do, you get to that point where you're there. And I hope um, that the people I've known and the animals I've had have gotten there if they want to be there. Who wouldn't want to be there, I guess. Amanda says, apparently black licorice is a good laxative. I would believe that. I would believe that. Susan says, my mother loved licorice. Chocolate is my thing. Yeah, I'm okay with chocolate. It's all right. If it's around, I'll probably eat it, but it's not the thing that I would search out for first. I'd probably buy some potato chips before I'd buy some chocolate. Nancy says, the anise bears. Oh my, yes, right? I know. Marion says, I love most licorice, but Dutch licorice is rather different. I don't know if I've had that before. Do they do the salty licorice? Because I've had some of that, and that's a little bit rough. Marion says, I think I was a monk in an earlier life for the books. Right. All right, everybody. We got to get going. We got to show you some vintage plastic today. We've been chatting enough about sad things, probably, but I think sadness happens in life, right? Sadness happens, and it's always good to know that you are with people who understand. And I think that's one of the reasons that Andrew and I try to open up more, because we know there are a lot of people out in the world who feel isolated. And we have found in the beading community, there are a lot of people who are alone. And they take up beading because it's something that they can do on their own, and it's something that they can get into. But a lot of people we've come across are and also like me, some people who get into this are different, are a little weird, and that's a good thing, I think, but that doesn't always come across. And so I think one of the reasons that Andrew and I are so open about our lives and about the things that have happened to us is because we don't want people to feel alone, because we have both felt alone at times. And we were lucky to find each other, and we were lucky to be able to build this community together, and this little beading world that we have together. And we want to share that, and we don't want people to feel excluded from that, or feel like they can't be a part of it. So that's that. Harry says, dark chocolate and salted caramel is my poison. I do love some salted caramel. I do. That salt cuts that sweet. Oh, it's so good. Dark chocolate is okay. I alternate. I do prefer dark chocolate sometimes and milk chocolate sometimes, but I also grew up eating little caramels. My one grandmother also liked caramels. So when we go to the store, we'd fill up a bag from the Brock's. They used to have in our grocery stores, they had the Brock's containers, and you'd put them in a bag with a little scoop. Oh, I love those. Nancy says, I'm alone and learning. It's wonderful. I'm wonderful, right? You have to do that. But it also helps, I think, to have a community or a friend or a family member that you can fall back on when the time comes. Sometimes when the wave of not so wonderful happens, because inevitably going through transitions, I know you're going through a transition, but inevitably there are, everyone has doubts and everyone has hardships. And I think it's important to know that there are people out there who understand. They may not be able to help all the time, but they can understand, and not feeling alone is what has helped me sometimes the most when I did feel alone, and knowing that there were people out there who were like, I don't know what to do for you, but I get it. Sometimes that's all you need. Susan says, European milk chocolate is very different from American milk chocolate. Yes, it is. And sometimes I crave a good old Hershey's bar, but sometimes I also prefer the European milk chocolates, the imported stuff. Harry says, we have a Dutch chocolate, chocolatery, chocolate, I can't even say that, chocolatery Stam here, and he makes the most wonderful things. That's good. That's good. Marion says, I do like European milk chocolate better, but I like dark chocolate better. Susan says, I'm weird. People can deal with it or not. So sad. Too bad if they can't handle my weirdness. I know. I'm getting there in my life. For a long time, I spent a lot of time trying to cover up the parts of me that were weird just so that I didn't have to deal with the pressures of being different, because it can be a pressure thing, right? It can be a little bit of pressure to be different if you don't know how to handle that. And when things happened at a young age to me, I wasn't sure how to handle that. But as I'm getting older and more comfortable with me, I'm getting more and more that way. Andrew's definitely hit that spot where he's like, they can like me or not. I still like people to like me, and I'm trying to get away from that feeling like I failed if somebody doesn't like me for some reason. But I'm getting better at it. I think my 40s here. This is the decade. This is the decade that I give up caring about all that, and I'm working my way there. Okay. Anyway, let's get started looking at some stuff before someone else comments, and I want to talk more about that, and talk more about that, and talk more about that. I could have just talked about all this all day long, actually. Because actually it helps me, you know, and hopefully it helps all of you out there too a little bit in some way, hopefully. Okay, I have this here so that our color stays correct. I have the penny and I have the ruler. Let's flip the ruler over to millimeters. It might be easier. All right, everyone, I've been talking so much. I need to pour myself my last cup of my bottle today. That's always a good sign when I'm on my last cup at the end of the day. Nancy says, you have helped me. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. I in whatever way, I would do that all day long. But it's hard to make a life doing that when you're not a doctor of psychology. So we do this, and I like this too. Susan says, and I get labeled as weird because I'm not into sports, read books, listen to classical music, etc. Yeah, I did all that in high school. Like, I listened to opera music, I listened to show tunes, I listened to classical music, I read books, I liked languages, I enjoyed schoolwork in a lot of ways. And I was definitely labeled weird and a geek or a nerd or whatever you want to call it. And it was not easy back then, but it's easier for me now. Okay, I'm going to put this little sign up here. This lot is only $4. Now see, today, I feel like I don't have as much room as I had yesterday. Okay, this lot is only $4. Let's put that there. And this is the lot number. If you'd like to purchase these, this is the lot number, VP41. We did 40 yesterday. We're starting at 41. Sorry, everybody. I've been talking so much. My voice is starting to go away right when we start to show you everything. Marion says, I certainly cared less about what others thought of me by the time I was in my 40s. Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm definitely getting there. Oops. Let me get my other light over here too. There we go. Let's get some extra light in here. All right. So we have these little nuggets. Now, these are all vintage plastic from the 50s to the 80s. And I love the swirls. Can you see those in there? Hopefully. My light. Let me see if I can move this over. It seems far away today. Let me see. Let me move this stand. I thought I was all set up, everybody. I thought I was all set up today. There we go. That's a little better. There, even better. All right, now you can see those, I think. Beautiful color in these. This is lot VP41. If you're interested in that, you can send us an email with VP41 in the subject line. that makes it the easiest way to do it, because sometimes your email client will say, you didn't leave a subject, or you didn't put in a subject. So if you just put that in the subject, put in info@allegorygallery.com and hit send, that's the best chance of grabbing these things if you want that one. These are limited quantities, so you got to get them while you can get them. Otherwise, they're gone. Now, some of these, again, are in the online store. If you want to go there and see what's in there, you can type in vintage plastic in the search bar and see all the vintage plastic in the online store. But right now, you can get them here if you want. They're the same price either way. They're $4 a strand for these ones. We're going to show you some other ones later that are $5 a strand, and you're going to see why. I love this one. This goes with some of the ones I showed you yesterday. They were that same color. I think we had drops and rounds in that color with the little speckles in them. Nancy says green, right? Yeah, I like those. Those little, I love those little speckles in there too. All right, so that's lot VP for vintage plastic 42. Coming up, we have lot VP 43, and are these big uns, these big gray beauties right here. Aren't those pretty? Super pretty. So that's lot VP 43. VP 43. Lot VP 44 are these. They're gray and clear. They got a little mix in there. Really good looking. They're icy. I love that look. This is VP 44, $4 a strand. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll answer if I can. And also feel free to continue chatting or talking in the comments. I know you're probably busy watching and getting ready to send an email, but it's always nice to still see people chatting. That way I know that people are still able to see me and the technology hasn't cut out in any way. Lot VP 45 are these. I love these ones. I love the coloring on these. Love the patterns. So there they are, lot VP 45. And I think there's only one strand of this next one, lot VP 46. Oh, Lennis has the 45s, nice. I think there's only one strand of these. We had enough to make one strand only. These blue with the gold, looks like it's just been like splashed on there. I love these. Marianne thinks she has the orangey ones too, nice. This is lot VP 46 for these blue and gold. One strand available of those. Okay, lot VP 47 are these little nuggety things. They have these little kind of twisted shape on them. But I am such a fan of the beads like this that glow. Like they have that such clarity and they capture the light so well. It's like they're almost like they're made of like a liquid, like they're water. I love those. Lot VP 47. lot VP48. VP48 are these little black nuggets. Faceted, pretty much a faceted rondelle. Yeah, faceted rondelle. And these are large hole. You can see, hopefully, the holes. Those are pretty large holes there. Some of these are very large hole. I'm going to try and point out the ones that are very large. I think all the ones I've shown you so far, I'm just going back to look, are pretty much regular size holes, but these are very large hole. Student says, I was in my late 40s and forced to tolerate a coworker in an adjacent cube who openly referred to me as the weirdo. That is until we got a new boss who had me moved. That is so, that makes me so angry. Because weirdos, quote unquote, are my favorite people, generally. Like, I don't want to be necessarily friends with a lot of normal, quote unquote, people. I like weird people. And it makes me mad when people try to turn that into a bad thing. Like, I don't know. Why is being weird a bad thing? Like, weird people are generally the people who get stuff done and have a good time doing it. I don't know. Next ones are these ones with very large holes, as you can see, that have a wood look to them. Susan says, yep, weirdos are my favorites too, right? Like, who wants, like, okay, so you're normal. What does that mean? Like, does that mean kind of, I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody, but if you're just normal and you don't have a little bit of a weird streak, it's kind of a little bit, that's weird to me. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Harry says, I got up early, shot a picture of the moon, photographed from my shop, listed that, and went to a doctor visit. After coming home, cast 6 eggs and a large cat angel in clay, and made some jewelry. You have had a busy day. Have had a busy day. Barbara says, why can't people just be nice? I don't get it. I know, right? Suzanne says, busy day, Harry, right? Susan says, you are a busy bee, Harry. Lena says, boring. Yeah, normal people. I don't want to offend anybody, but I like when most of my friends have all been the odd ducks, the people who are, a little bit, they have something strange. Either they're obsessed with something, like I love people who are obsessed with their work or what they study or what they love to read about. People who, especially weird stuff, because I like weird stuff. This is lot VP 50. Michelle says, normal is boring to me, right? Lena says, we need a little something interesting. I think so too. Marion says, I love being different. Yeah, I have to get myself to the point where I love it, because if you love it, then you truly accept yourself, right? At least most likely. And I'm getting there, but I still like people to like me. It's just my thing. I'm one of those peacekeeper people, and I like people to at least, deal with me, I guess. I don't know. I don't know why I care. I really don't, actually. Amanda says, being different is our superpower. I think so, right? You can do things when you like weird stuff, or you do weird stuff, or you're a weird person. I think you can do things that most people can't, and you can better take on more things, and you're more flexible, I think, because you're used to being a little bit of an outcast. I love these. I love these splotchy little blocks. VP 51. Suzanne says, I went to my indie bookstore and got several books. That's nice. Oh, we went to the bookstore the other day. I think I told y'all we didn't have any time to get anything, really. But I've got so many books I have to read. I have to read my books. Harry says, I have always been weird and happy with it. Good. Good. Suzanne got books on women in metal music and books on climate change. That's nice. That's nice. Susan says, very unusual rectangular beads. Yeah, those are. I love those. I love those. Now, like I said, some of these you can see in our online store and you can grab them there if you want to. I think I'm showing, I was going to go through and be like, well, these are online. I'm not going to show them, but I think it's always good to see them on video too. So even if they're in the online store, you can see them on video. Lot VP52 are these blues. These blues. I love these little blue rounds. Water-like. They have that kind of quality to them because they're so clear. Sometimes they have little bubbles in them from making the plastic, which I love. So that's VP52. I know I have at least 2 strands of those because I pulled 2 strands, not realizing I had pulled the same strand twice. Tanzanite color. Yes, Susan, they are, right? It's a good color. It's a beautiful color. Lot VP53. How about this brightness? Whew, isn't that bright? And I love those little bubbles that formed when they were making these in there. They're kind of trapped for all time, which I think is really cool. It kind of looks like a tree in some of these. If you turn them this way, it looks like the tree's coming up and the flowers. So I think that's really cool. This is VP53. I know I don't have many of those. I have one at least that I'm showing you and maybe one more that I saw, but I can't remember. And I've got to speed it up, y'all, because unfortunately my phone is dying and I don't have my plug here today, I don't think. So we're gonna speed it up a little for y'all. Sorry about that. I hope you don't mind. VP54 are these little nuggety goodnesses in this lime or lemon yellow. It's kind of almost like a lime yellow, like a little bit of green in there. Maybe that's from the blue passing. It's probably from the blue. Never mind. They're yellow. Yellow and blue make green, y'all. Michelle says neon pink. Amanda says those rock. I think these rock too. The pink ones definitely do. And I said I'm going to go faster. I don't know if I'm really going faster or not. I just have to, I have 20% battery left on my phone. I just have to get through 20% battery. This is VP55. These little pink nuggets. We showed you some little nuggets yesterday in pink, and these are a little bit longer. They are more pink in person than they are coming across on the screen, at least on my screen. Just like a shade or 2 darker. But they're beautiful, little pink. If you're doing the rose quartz kit and you want to add some vintage plastic to keep it lighter, that might be a good way to do that. Susan said, I missed that comment. Magenta for these. Yeah, the Viva Magenta. If you're doing Viva Magenta, look at that. That's Viva Magenta right there. VP56 are these kind of animal print ones, right? Love the animal print where you don't have to hurt the animal to get it, right? Beautiful. VP56. Lena says, I really need to use the vintage plastic instead of hoarding it, right? We have it kind of in the store, but it's kind of tucked away in a corner and it's low to the ground. So I don't think people always see it. And that's why I wanted to show it to y'all on camera. And then I've taken pictures of most of these and I'm going to post those on Facebook too. So you can see them. Yesterday we had this one in a much lighter purple, and these are a much darker purple. Much darker purple. Michelle says that one was like a cheetah, right? Marianne hoards it too. You hoard it too? Everybody's hoarding the vintage plastic. I get it. I get it, but it's so much fun to work with. We should get you all to work with the vintage plastic and then put up like a vintage plastic album on the design challenge group maybe. Because people, I think, don't understand that you can actually use this vintage plastic and make it look nice. And I'd love to see what all of you do with it. Susan says that was a nice cut. I think so too. Okay, so VP58 are these. So these are like the pink ones I showed you, but these are kind of like an opal or an opalite. Look at that yellow that flashes in there. And that actually, a lot of times when you take a still picture, that stuff doesn't show up all the time. But I think these showed up really well with that kind of yellow and almost reddish pink flash in there. So those are really pretty. Lettuce says, yes, design throwdown. I would love it. I would love to see what you all do with the vintage plastic. Maybe we'll do that in the design challenge group. We'll say, hey, we're going to do a vintage plastic album. If you've got vintage plastic, break it out. Let's make some stuff. And let's show people that vintage plastic is nothing to sneeze at, that it can be beautiful, and it's not some cheap, ugly material that nobody wants. VP59, I love these. These have that kind of cross design there. They have a slightly larger hole on them, and they're a nice little barrel tube bead. And that color, that mossy aqua, right? Looks like moss aquamarine. Beautiful color, VP59. VP60. VP60 are these. These are beautiful. They're like almost like amber. And I know amber's light too, so these are light. It's not really a savings in weight, but these are beautifully shaped and much cheaper than you would get amber drops for. VP60. Lot VP61 are these chunky monkeys. I love these. I think this is the last strand. Maybe I have one more after this. I don't even think these got into the online store because I think these were a remnant of the Etsy store. And they never got put into the online store after we closed down most of our Etsy stuff. But I just love the shape of these. I love how they fit together like this. So I don't know if you can do anything special with that like that, but I think they're a really cool design. A little bit dusty. Need a little bit cleaned up maybe. Oh, thank you. Somebody just purchased something. Thank you so much. If that's any of you. Thank you to the world anyway out there. If it's not one of you, I can't see names. There you go. That's VP61. Student says, I've never seen anything like that. Right? Those are so cool. I love those. Those are lush, says Lennis. Look carved, not molded. Yeah, they do, right? Marion says, I have one Baltic amber bead mounted in silver. It was a little expensive, right? Suzanne says, way cool. Harry says, that might have been me. Well, thank you, Harry. Thank you for placing the order. Lot VP62. VP62 are these little squares. These are squares. They are slightly pink. The holes are a little bit large, maybe 1.5, maybe 2 millimeter leather would fit through there. Definitely 1.5. And they're slightly, like I said, slightly that peachy pink color. VP62. Come on, let go of the bag. All right, lot VP63. Susan says, almost like Morganite, but without the price tag, right? It's true. VP 63, lot vintage plastic 63. Are these coins? When they're coins, I like to let you know how big they are. These are about 22 millimeter, 20 to 22 millimeter. Beautifully, these are like a gray, almost like a granite kind of color with little speckles. I love those. I love the ones with the speckles in it. I don't know why. They just make me happy. Lena says, I have those. Gonna get to using them. We're gonna put up a challenge, I think. Make people use it. Make people use it. VP 54, 64. VP 64 are these. Look at these green speckledy beauties. Love these. So VP 64 are these little greenies. I forgot, honestly, I remember a lot of our vintage plastic. I don't even remember getting these. So I don't know where they came from, but they're in our vintage plastic container or basket. And I think I have 1 or 2 strands of those. Okay, VP 65. Susan says those were like moss green kyanite, a little bit. They got that beautiful kind of translucency, but they have a little speckled. Oh, love that. You know I like green too. VP 65 are these nuggets. Nuggets, white with the black speckles. I think those are really cool. VP 65. VP 66 coming up are these larger yellow faceted rounds. And these are about 12 millimeter rounds, 12 millimeter faceted rounds. VP 66. And VP 67 is going to end the $4 range with this one. These little peachy, kind of peachy color, little nuggets, little triangular nuggets. Kind of a triangular shape, 3-sided. Bonnie says, did you go out for pizza last night? We did. I didn't even mention that. Holy moly, how did I forget? Yes, we went up to the Center for Metal Arts. I went home and got myself ready a little bit, and Andrew was getting ready, and we went back up to Johnstown for the Center for Metal Arts, and we got to hang out with everybody that Andrew is currently working with up there, and the teacher, and some of our friends who are just in the area too. And it was a really fun time. I got to meet a lot of cool people. There's some people taking that class that are coming from LA and Ohio. So people are coming from all over to take the classes in Johnstown, which is so cool to see. So we had fun. At first I wasn't sure. I had an upset stomach for most of yesterday, and I was really uncertain whether I could get through an evening or not, and not feel like, and not be like, you know, like people obviously can tell you shouldn't be there or don't want to be there. but I had a good time, and I think Andrew had a good time, and it was really cool to meet everybody. And it kind of it was a nice bright spot in the day, actually. All right. So thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. All right, VP68. So these are technically a moon glow lucite, and they get that name because they have that chatoyance flash kind of in them. You can kind of see. It's hard to see. I took pictures of these. It's very hard to notice in a picture because it just looks like light, but you can see it on camera how it shines. And you'll see it even more in some of the, this shape is a little bit harder to tell, but this is Moonglow lucite. These are $5 a strand. A little bit more expensive, and really these probably should be more expensive now, but they're from when we bought them before. I don't know if you tried to buy these today, if they would be more or not. But this is still our stock from pre-pandemic times and good pricing, so you get the same good pricing too. VP69. VP69 are these little bright, these are super like neon, beautiful Moonglow lucite. Gorgeous color, very fun. And these are VP69. I'm gonna have to start reminding myself to charge my phone midday. I was taking a lot of pictures today for things, and I didn't realize how drained my phone battery was. Now here's one you should be able to see that moon glow really well. Lot VP70. Lot VP70. Check that out. See that glow? How cool that is? That's the Moonglow lucite. Michelle liked that tangerine color, that bright one, yeah. So this is lot VP70. Only $5 a strand. Yeah, it says they make me smile, right? How can that not make you smile? Those are fun. And they're super, super beautiful. Keep the beauty in your life, y'all, right? Keep the beauty in your life. Lot VP71, coming to you as soon as I take a drink. Okay, let's go back to some of this beautiful bright orange. VP71 are these large rounds. This is, by the way, about 15 millimeter, 14 to 15 millimeter. And I think these are the same size as the greens. The greens, no. The greens are more like 12 millimeter. These are a little bit bigger. This is VP71. Look at that flash. Lot VP72, and do another orange one, this time in a kind of, I don't know, what do you call that shape? My brain just left me. I don't know, it's a nice shape. Sometimes my brain just goes away, especially after a long day. We'll call it a little football shape. That's what it looks like to me. VP72 in a nice bright orange color. VP72. Whew, it is. It is only like 53 here today, but I'm getting really warm this evening. I don't know why. VP73. VP73 is this kind of slightly beigey, I guess it's a beigey color. Very large rice. That's good, Marianne, right? Very large rice. I don't know what else you call that. Football shape, very large rice shape. I'm sure there's a name for it, but I can't think of it today. And I don't know, this is the same as the other one. I don't know if you could tell in the other ones too. They're twisted. They're like a kind of like a I don't know, like they would have been a rectangle, but they twist them a little bit. Harry says this Moonglow would look great in a bracelet. Wouldn't they though? Wouldn't they? Like I said, we're gonna do a throwdown challenge for vintage plastic, maybe in the online design challenge group on Facebook. We'll make an album and say, hey, if you've got any vintage plastic around, show us what you can do with it. Here's a challenge. Show us what you can do with it. And let's make things beautiful. Let's show people what vintage plastic can look like. Now here's the Moonglow in saucers. Lena says Moonglow Addiction over here, right? I think we've got good prices on these too. Little saucers in the Moonglow in that beautiful light blue color. Stunning, stunning. VP 74. How can you not be addicted to this? I tell you. Like, I love the Moonglow and I love showing it to people and selling it to people, but I am a little sad whenever we sell the last of any one design. It makes me a little bit sad. VP 75. How about these? VP 75. These are like these cylinders, and they are, you can see they are like cut, like they're not sharp, but they're close to being sharp. They are really well done. Moonglow blue in the cylinders, $5 per strand. Lot VP 75. And most of this Moonglow, we have a number of them, but not all of them. Some of them were down to 1 or 2 only. Lot VP 76. Check out this big bright green one here. This one is about 15. That's one of those 15, 16 millimeters. Barbara says pretty color, right? The blues, probably meaning the blue. Pretty quick for the green, maybe mean the green. I think they're both pretty colors. I love this bright lime green though. That's like a true lime. You want a lime green, you've got it right there. But VP 76. If you're just tuning in, welcome, and we're almost done. So if you'd like, you can watch the replay. We talked a lot in the beginning about various things, but you can also skip ahead and check out just the beads if you want to too. Barbara says, yes, blue, but that green too, right? VP 77, this is the last one in this orange color that we have, this shape. And this one, these are approximately about 11 millimeters. About 11 millimeter rounds in that pretty Moonglow orange. You can see that. Look at that. That flash. VP 77. We're almost there, y'all. We're almost there. Hopefully some of you have grabbed some of these and you find some things you like. Next up, VP 78. This is the last one in this blue color that we have. Actually, all these ones coming up are the last of their color. So this is VP 78, and this one I think is one of the 10 millimeter, yeah, 11 millimeter ones as well. That blue really has some nice, pretty flash to it. Looks like Arctic frozen ice or something. I like it. I'm just bagging each one of these so I don't have to go through the video when you all send your requests in. Just helps to keep them separated for a little bit. Then they'll come back out of their bags and go back, anyone that didn't sell. Beautiful green, VP79. There's that bright green again. VP79. And these ones are 10 millimeter. I was going to say they felt a little smaller. They're just 1 millimeter smaller than the others, but you can feel it. VP79. Whoops. Need the card. Okay, I lied. I had one that I didn't see. So this is almost the end of this color, but not quite. VP80 are these yellow moon glow cylinders. And these cylinders are approximately 12 to 13 millimeters long and about 8 millimeters wide. There they are, VP80. VP80. Those were hiding behind something else. So VP81 is this one. VP81 is the same color yellow, but in the rounds. And these are approximately the 11 millimeter rounds. Actually, these are 12 millimeter rounds. These are 12. Solid 12. VP81. And it says, wouldn't it be neat to meet the people who designed and made these wonderful beads? I know. I want to meet all the bead makers. I want to meet them all. I want to document their process. I would love it. That's one of our ultimate goals, is to try to meet people and document the process and try to show that to people around the world before it gets lost. All right, VP82 are these little eggy-like almost shapes. I guess they're kind of like a bloated rice, right? In this beautiful green. And these ones are about 15 millimeter by approximately 12 millimeter. VP82. All right. Suzanne says, yes, it would be cool, right? Suzanne says, I'd like to meet the bone carvers. I know. I think that'd be such a cool thing to watch. To start from some kind of bone that looks like a bone to carve it into something that doesn't look like a bone anymore. I think it'd be so cool. And this is the last lot, y'all. VP83, ending on an odd number, which we don't try to usually do, but that's what I had, so that's what we're doing. VP83 is this kind of almost olive colored green rounds, and these are approximately 9 millimeter. 9 millimeter. Nine millimeter little rounds. All right, and that's VP83, and that's it, y'all. All right, let me first turn off this light on this one. There we go. That had a good bit of light, didn't it? And let me flip the camera before I put my phone up, because you'll see my whole mess that I have if I don't do it this way. This room is kind of messy right now. I'm a little bit messy today. So thank you all for tuning in, not only for, the buying part of this, but also hanging out and chatting. And I know sometimes our topics are a little bit heavy. Maybe it was a little heavy. I hope it wasn't too heavy for anyone today. But I do think it's good to talk about things with people sometimes. And, I know some of you are going through some things. So hopefully it helps more than it's too heavy for people. But yeah, anyway, thank you all so much for hanging out with me. It does help me. I can say that for sure. You all help me. And we appreciate that. We appreciate your support. Lennis says, "You're not heavy, you're my brother." Thank you, Lennis. I appreciate that. We're all family here, right? Lennis has visited and helped us move a number of times and done a number of things. So definitely we are family. But we don't have to have met you to consider you family in this community, because we hang out a lot together, and we appreciate you, and we appreciate all that you all do for each other out there too. So thank you all so very much. We will be back here tomorrow with something else. I don't think it's going to be vintage plastic again. I think that's the end of the vintage plastic. If I do get into the vintage plastic again, it's going to be more modern. So I hate to say it's not as nice, but it's not as nice. It has some seam lines in it in a lot of cases. There's some kind of, places where it obviously looks like it was broken away from a mold or something. But maybe we'll show this to you, but I think maybe I'm going to try and find something else for y'all. So this is the good stuff. This is the good vintage plastic. If you're going to get any vintage plastic, get it from today and yesterday. Or if you want stuff for kids, the newer stuff is great for kids. I will say that. So if you're trying to buy for kids, or to play around with, or sometimes you just, that's the other thing too, is sometimes the cheapier stuff is good if it has like colors or shapes that resemble stones, and you want to just play around with designing with it and just using it as a place marker until you figure out what you actually want to do. Sometimes that's nice too, so it's useful for that. So never terrible, but I shouldn't put down the other plastic, but this is the nicer stuff. This is definitely it. All right. Thank you again. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, whatever it is in your neck of the woods, and we will see you back here at some point tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Thanks for supporting us.